This is a Fresnel lens light modifier from SmallRig. It has a fan on the side of it. You might not initially think this is novel in any way, but this Bowens mount attachment includes a marvel of technology that isn't mentioned anywhere on their site or in the manual. Okay, it does mention active cooling, but I really don't think that's giving enough credit to what this thing is doing, because a Bowens mount does not pass any power onto the thing that it's plugged into. And when you buy this and you open this thing up, there is no plug, there's no battery to charge, there's nothing that can deliver electricity to this fan. Some engineer over there in Shenzhen, China, some warlock in a lab at SmallRig is succeeding in the practice of alchemy and not getting any credit for it at all. This is a Fresnel lens. This is the SmallRig RA-F150. It's a focusable attachment for any brand of light with a Bowens mount, and it allows you to make sort of a beam of light instead of a wash of light, but focusable to wider or narrower. They're kind of amazing. This is what you would use to portray sunlight coming through a window, even if it's the middle of the night or you're in a warehouse. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'll make a video about this thing later. I'm here to point out and to give credit to some unnamed engineer over there at SmallRig who found a way to get an active fan, and for those of you who don't build computers, that means a fan that is powered by electricity and moves some volume of air out of a place. It's the opposite of passive cooling, which would be something like a heatsink, which cools a thing by spreading heat out into other parts and into the air around it through thermal conductivity. No, this is a powered fan on a Bowens mount attachment. This Fresnel lens has an electric fan to remove heat from inside this cavity, and it does get good and hot in there when you attach this to bigger lights, like 100 watts and up. And it doesn't have a battery, and it doesn't require electrical input of any kind. Instead, this thing makes its own power. It's harnessing a phenomenon called the Seebeck effect. This SmallRig light modifier is using what's called a thermal-electric generator inside here. The generator that powers this little fan runs off of heat. A thermal-electric generator uses a kind of engineering witchcraft, where if you've got a significant temperature difference on two sides of a thing, and with this lens, we've got a really hot cavity inside and an air temperature casing outside, so there's a really big difference in the temperature. This device can harness the temperature difference between these two sides and spit out electricity. Equally strange, the black magic contained inside this mechanism works in reverse. If I were to cut the wires off the inside of this fan and just apply a voltage to it, the inside of this case would get really cold and the outside would get really hot, even if there's nothing running inside there. They actually use this type of generator on tiny little satellites that are orbiting the Earth. They'll put a chunk of radioactive material inside a box inside a satellite. That material just sort of gives off heat forever, kind of magical in itself if you ask me. And since space is really cold on the outside of the satellite, poof, you've got free and infinite electricity forever. The reason you don't see this sort of wizardry all over your normal life is that even with a significant amount of heat, a thermal electric generator really only produces a tiny electrical current. So it's perfect in this case, and in this case, like you can make it run a small fan off of 150 watts of heat. But this generator is maybe only around 5% efficient, meaning about 5% of the heat energy that passes into this case can be harnessed into electricity to run this fan. That's just all it needs. So it's not like you can just attach this to an electric motor and run a Tesla off the sun. Anyway, magic heat dissipating fan on a SmallRig Fresnel lens. Personally, I am amazed, and SmallRig, if you ever see this, I want to meet the engineer that came up with this idea. Goodbye.